Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today, is it a rye?
It's rye.
We're drinking rye. All right, Ben, what's this rye you speak of?
We have BAM, a sample from Mikey Likey Whiskey, so thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
This is a Midwinter Nights Dram, Act 11, Scene 8.
11, 8.
So I don't really know what all that means. To be honest, I've only had one Midwinter Nights Dram. I know they have a different, I think they have a Midsummer Nights Dram as well. Anyway, This is from High West, and it's their Rendezvous Rye, but it's finished in port casks, I think, and French oak. Was it port?
I think so.
Yeah. So the proof on this bad boy is what?
98.6.
Okay.
Which is human proof.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say that. So I've had one expression of this before. To be honest, I found it a bit underwhelming for the amount of hype that goes into this bottle.
So this is a little bit of a hunter type. I wouldn't call it, well, maybe it's a unicorn, but people hunt for it.
I wouldn't say it's a unicorn, but it's definitely allocated.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
And it's expensive.
So, High West,
Yep.
out of Park City, Utah, I believe. I believe that's where they're
somewhere in Utah.
from. Yeah, I think it's Park City.
I think. Yeah, so this one tends to run around that $120 range a lot of times.
Okay.
And I think it sells on the secondary for more than that.
I believe you're right.
This is, to be honest, and what's really nice about having a sample of it here is this isn't something, like I've seen these on the shelf and passed them up.
Okay.
You know, just because I'm not interested
I actually think I have too.
$130
I definitely never bought one.
I'm not interested in the
risk?
this bottle enough based on the one that I had to pay that much money. So it's nice to have the sample to get to see, like, well, maybe I'll buy the next one.
Right.
You know. So again, thank you, Mike. On the nose, this has a great nose.
So it has a really well-aged kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Real density. I don't know why. It smells like it's going to be dense. Although I didn't.
It does, yeah. 2 finishing barrels, so you're going to get that.
Definitely some
oaky
wine
vibe.
influence. The port, no surprise there.
There's an interesting pastry note on this that I can't put my finger on.
You're not supposed to put your finger on pastries. Everyone knows this.
I put my fingers on whatever I want to put them on.
A little, like it's going grapey. Like I mean, I know it's port finish, but it's Concord grape, which
A little bit.
I personally like, and so that's not a negative.
But I'm getting some sort of like a vanilla custard. And vanilla is not an uncommon note for us to get off of rye.
No, not at all.
Usually the sweetness in a rye kind of manifests. For the two of us anyway, we both have this in common in our tasting, is that we tend to get a lot of vanilla off of ryes if we get a sweet note. And that's definitely there in this one. Well, let's not delay this any further.
There's a floral note. There's some flowers hiding in there somewhere.
I'm with you on that too. All right, let's get into it. Cheers.
It went way different than what I was expecting.
Oh, that's really good, actually.
It's really good in a way that I
really
was
good.
not expecting.
Yeah.
Like no ethanol kick.
No, it's a very easy drinker. Not a ton of ethanol, but a ton of flavor.
Almost like mapley in its flavor
Maybe
profile.
that's the pastry I'm looking for, like a maple donut, because I'm getting like the flaky pastry, fried pastry.
Yeah.
A little bit of that vanilla I was talking about, but yeah, maybe the maple. I got to tell you, this is one.
Maybe butter, or like a buttered pastry. Like there's something in there.
This is one that I did not have high hopes for. I was like, okay, it's going to taste like a rye, you know, based on that one that I had.
Sure.
This is really, really good.
I feel that if you had a solid pour of this, you're going to get different flavors every single time you take a sip. This is a whiskey geek or rye geek type thing. Like this is a real interesting one.
It is, for sure. This is kind of interesting. I love the palate. It's really good. And I agree with you that if you sit and have a few sips of this, you're going to get a lot of different stuff. The nose on this thing is just amazing. It really
is.
There's more ethanol on the nose than there is on the palate.
Yes.
And so you kind of have to get around that a little bit, but there's that pastry note is especially on the nose.
Like, I know several people who are not big into, spirits in general, that would not want to taste this just because of the kind of like the spiciness on the nose. Mm-hmm. But like my wife in particular, like she would say no based just on the smell. But I think flavor-wise, she may really like it.
I highly doubt that because as much as I've seen you try to convince her to drink bourbon and rye, she's not into it.
Yeah, you're probably right. However,
but I get what you're saying though. This is approachable for somebody who's maybe on the fence.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just there's so much going on in this one. It's a very, very interesting whiskey. I will say that. $120? Honestly, after having this, I'm a little more convinced on that.
I was 100% in the anti.
Yeah, I was too.
Before. I'm somewhere in the middle now. Like on the right day, if I saw this bottle sitting on the shelf, I may pick it up at this point because it's really interesting. What I like about it is it's really interesting and it's lowish proof.
Yeah.
So it's for that night when you have nothing to do. Have a decent pour.
But you don't want to have the alcohol consumption level.
Right.
Of, say, having a 2-ounce pour of like 130 proof whiskey.
Put an old record on and just sit and listen to music and have a nice pour. And every sip is going to be different.
That actually sounds fantastic. For a second there, I was just about to make fun of you for that comment. I was like, yeah, that's...
I
don't have a record player. I didn't get into the vinyl thing. I don't need another hobby to spend money on.
Yeah.
So I'm just rocking straight MP3s. But
I mean, it's so much easier just to use your phone and a Bluetooth speaker.
It is, yeah.
But
apparently it sounds better on vinyl. I don't know.
I really do like vinyl.
We'll save that conversation for one of our live streams that goes completely off the rails.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen one of our live streams, like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. Subscribe to the Bourbon Note. Check out our live streams on Wednesdays.
6 p.m. Central Time.
Yep, most Wednesdays.
Most Wednesdays, not everyone.
So, this is... every once in a while you get a whiskey that catches you by surprise when you had low expectations. And again, the only reason I had the low expectations for this one is because I had it before, I knew about the hype, and maybe I had hyped it up in my mind a little bit, and I was profoundly underwhelmed with it. And even the person I was drinking it with, Sean, who was definitely into ryes, had kind of said, like, yeah, this one's just kind of fallen flat for me. But this one I think is actually really nice, really interesting.
Yeah, works really well for me today. So I like that.
All right, well, this has been High West, a Midwinter Nights Dram, Act 11, Scene 8 on the Bourbon Note. I'm Ben.
I'm Greg. Till next time. See you next time.